Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. But seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Jeff Peterson Memorial Cup, one of the biggest independent wrestling nights of the year, the kind of night you dream of as a competitor, but nights like this, they just irritate me. They just irritate me. All this pageantry, all this, everybody being so pleasant, my own teammates, fans, hangers-on, people who don't know me and are not my friends. All these, what is wrong? Independent wrestling is supposed to be the lifeblood of the sport, and somewhere along the line it lost its balls. Is this golf? Is this a spelling bee? Why are we shaking hands? Why are we friends? I'm not friends with anybody here. I don't like anybody here, and I know they don't care or give a damn about me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk through that curtain and I'm gonna throw chairs, I'm gonna cuss, and I'm gonna spit, I'm gonna punch, and I'm gonna kick, and I'm gonna bite, and I'm gonna claw, and I'm gonna scratch my way for victories, and I'm going to make it look easy. You people, nobody's figured it out yet. You have no idea who or what you're looking at. But you will. You will.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy, your main man, your Jack Soul brother from another mother. That is me, your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind, AJ Orsini. How the hell are you guys doing out there? That's the tagline. I repeated it again for good measure. Well, I repeated it because I genuinely care. How the hell are you guys? This is your boy. I have already said that. And I am a little topsy-turvy right now. I'm a little out of it. Ever since we moved into this new apartment, there's been stuff all over the place. We're still trying to organize, but at the same time, my wife and I have not been well. We're fighting through. She's probably worse off than I am. But at the same time, we're trying to figure this whole deal out. So I believe, truthfully, one of the reasons why I feel the way that I feel, with the aches and the pains and everything that's been going on, is because of our bed situation. We have a bit of an older bed. This bed has been around the block, as they say. We've used this bed out. And in the process of this new apartment stuff, we got a bunch of new shit. And I decided a new bed should probably be on the list. Now, I came up with this idea before we started really having a whole lot of issues. We're getting a lot of issues now. And I do not feel well. And I almost did not do this show because I do not feel well. But there's so much to discuss, so many things to get into. I didn't want to wait a whole nother week. I got spoiled by the fact that I had an interview in the can already with the Montekia interview, and then of course we did a turnaround for the Royal Rumble Roundtable, which both episodes are doing well. Thank you guys for downloading those episodes. Hope you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoy this one because I am here. I'm on IR right now. I'm on the injured reserve, fighting through here. I'm playing hurt tonight, so bear with me with this, but we do have a new bed on the way. Like I said, I did purchase one, but unfortunately, scheduling-wise, delivery-wise, long story, but the end result is I can't get that fucking thing until February 5th. So I'm just kind of dealing with this shit until then. I'm miserable right now. I don't know if you can hear it within the sound of my voice. I am miserable. So I will try to do my best to not be angry Cini here tonight, but not doing well. I'm not really angry. I'm not well. That's it. That's the short version of it. But we don't have the luxury of sitting back and waiting for me to feel better or to do better. I've got a show to do, and it's a responsibility that I have taken upon myself. This is episode 74. This is episode 74. Next week would be episode 75. I'm making that one a pretty special one. There's going to be a lot of different things going on. As a matter of fact, nice big shout out to the intro, the opening song for Orsini's Uncensored Mind. This has been the opening theme song pretty much since the beginning. I think I've discussed already before, it might have been episode 1, and one of the earlier episodes, how that theme song came to be. That theme song was given to me by a good friend of mine, Bryan Rivera, who used to have his own music thing going on. He used to be with the company Lower Track Productions. You see their link in my description every episode. They're the ones who hooked me up with the theme to begin with. I needed a custom song. I needed something original that I couldn't get in trouble for. That was solely mine. And they sat down in the lab and came up with that little ditty. And it's a good one. It's a good one. It's definitely a cool song. I know a lot of people have complimented me on the song. They like it. It grew on them. It grew on me, to be honest with you. I thought it was a pretty okay song. It was meant to be temporary all along, but it's been around for a while, and I'm happy with the song. But times they are a changing, my friend, and I definitely in 2019, as I stated in the New Year episode, I wanted clean slates. I'm trying to do all new different things. I want the show to evolve and be different. I don't want to keep doing the same things over and over and over and over. You got a little bit of taste of that with the Royal Rumble. I threw in some different voices. I'm going to be doing that a lot with this show over the course of the next few months. You're going to be hearing some different voices from different people, all walks of life here. We're going to be expanding, evolving. We're spreading our wings out here, and we're going to fly. Not the R. Kelly version. We're going to do Sans pedophilia version of evolution. Not WWE's version either, which I'm confused about now because I thought Batista was coming back to fight Triple H, but now Triple H doing shit with Dean. Who fucking knows? So there's a lot of confusion with that stuff. But so we're not going to use that one. We're using regular old average textbook dictionary version of evolution here. We are going to evolve, and the show will continue to move forward. I'm excited with what's coming, and I wanted to share that excitement here. I know I don't sound it. But I've got neck pain. I've got back pain. But the biggest pain that I have, and I know it's going to sound stupid, but you don't really appreciate how sensitive that area is until you no longer really have it. My ankles, both of them. I don't remember twisting them at any point. I don't remember doing anything really strenuous recently. But they hurt, and they hurt bad. I've been soaking them recently, the Epsom salt treatment. I have a machine here for feet, like a foot massager type deal, where it's supposed to, you put the Epsom salt in. It's like a foot spa type deal. It bubbles up on you. It's pretty cool. It's helped with swelling in the past and stuff like that. And it's been making me feel a little better, but the results are not, the comfort's not long term. It's not helping. Before I used to do it, it would feel good, and it would stay good for a while, and that's not really working out. So I don't know. My wife wants to set up an appointment with a doctor at some point. I already know what the doctor's going to say, pretty much. So I really don't want to waste my time. I kind of want to see where this goes with the bed. Somebody asked me, and I'm going to start off with that. It's a personal story, but I usually do personal stories in the beginning. I put up a post a while ago about DDP yoga. I was very interested because I'm trying to change this whole thing around. I got a lot of stuff on my plate, so I was trying to think of some different things, and I heard a lot of great stuff about DDP yoga. So I put something out there, a feeler, so to speak, see if anybody out there in the squad of O has dabbled in it. Got some great responses, some nice feedback, got a lot of information, looked it up, and I'm down to do it. The problem is to be honest with you, the want is there. The body's not cooperating. I could barely do anything right now, to be honest with you. Getting up in the morning and going to work right now. And I know you're hearing this and you're saying, dude, that's the point of DDP yoga. It's going to fix all that shit. But I just need to buckle down and actually fucking do it because I'm not in a good place. Neither is my wife. There's a lot of shit going on. The only person in this house that seems to be healthy is the kid. And the kid sometimes doesn't feel it either. He's been getting these little rashes going. There's a lot of shit going on right now in the house of O. But we're going to plow through here, talk a little pro wrestling today. There's a lot of stuff going on outside of that that I wanted to talk about. I don't have the information right now. I like to come prepared for stuff, so I'm probably going to leave that topic. There's a particular topic that something that went down yesterday, and it's not wrestling related. It's bad. It's bad. Well, I'll leave it at that. I guess that'll be the tease for next week because I need more information about it. It all pretty much happened, I think, either last night or this. I think it was last night, but news didn't break till this morning. I'm not going to talk about it right now. I won't even. This is as close to a tease as I'll get because I want to come prepared and I want to come with an informed opinion on it. And right now, I'd be reacting on emotion, and that's not the best thing to do. So we'll come back to. As a matter of fact, no, I'm gonna come back to it, but I will, I guess, because I'm being super vague right now. I know it's not helping my case, but there's a television show I don't watch. There's a television show out there called Empire. There's a gentleman on there on the actual show. His name is Jesse Smollett. He portrays a character on the show. I guess the character is homosexual, and he's of African American descent. And situation went down with him. A couple of individuals who were masked did a bunch of crazy shit. Beat him, tied him up, poured bleach on him, all kinds of shit. It's based on some of the evidence that I've seen. It pretty much is a hate crime. There's no way around that. But like I say all the time, this isn't a news outlet. This is an entertainment service. I'm not here to be first, and I'm not here to break any news. I'm here to give you guys the topics that I think you guys will enjoy and entertain you is the overall goal here. It's also therapeutic for me to be out there and get my voice out, get my opinions out on things. So unlike everybody else who needs to be first and needs to give you their gut reaction, that's not me. I'd rather be informed fully on what's been going on. I think a week of letting things breathe and coming back to it is the best decision, so that's what I'm going to do. Because I was really going to open with that, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably not the best idea. I am not going to go that route. The only other topic that was non-wrestling related that I wanted to bring up, obviously, I feel terrible because pro wrestling is like my number one love. It's the number one thing in my life, except for obviously my wife, my kid, and my family. It's pretty much number one, dominates. But I feel really bad because my second passion, the one thing that I really love more than anything else, sports or entertainment wise, is pretty much it's the NFL. I love the NFL. I love pro football. They're about to go into the Super Bowl this year, and it's the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. For anybody who gives a shit, but that's kind of my point. I do care. I do. I feel like I do anyway. I haven't seen a single game all fucking year. This is the first time I think in my life that I haven't sat down once and watched a single fucking game. I don't know if I've just been too busy, too tired, I don't know what the case is, but I've seen none of it. And I know this is the time of year even people who don't follow the sport will watch the game and they'll do, like I was watching, we're going to get into this shit, but I was watching TakeOver. We're doing TakeOver and the Royal Rumble and all this stuff. And at on the pre-show for the Royal Rumble, they had showed this clip of all this stuff that happened off camera with these 6 guys, with Ricochet and Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black, and then it was Gargano, Ciampa, and Adam Cole. And there's this whole deal going on between the 6 of them, and they announced a halftime heat match, a 6-man tag. You can go to the WWE Network during the halftime show of the Super Bowl, and you can watch this 6-man tag take place. I saw that, and I giggled a bit because I just thought to myself, I wasn't even really fully aware that the Super Bowl, like I knew it was roundabout, like the time for the Super Bowl. I just forgot that it was that exact date. It's like, wow, Super Bowl's next week, okay. And I feel really bad about that because I normally follow football. I follow the NFL. I usually get into that stuff. But not this year. So for anybody who cares, that's the Super Bowl matchup, and I feel bad because I've fallen off so many fucking things. I really have. Can you hear it in my voice? I'm off. I really am. I feel off. I feel no good, which is really kind of terrible. I'm recording this right now Tuesday night, going into Wednesday, because I'm just gonna have a full day tomorrow. I've got work. I start my new school schedule, which is 2 classes on Wednesday as opposed to the 1. No, actually, I had 2 classes last semester, I should say. I had 2 classes on Wednesday last semester, too. So there's no excuses for that, I guess. There's no gap in between, though, this time. I go like from, what was it, 4 to 5:50, and then from 6 to like 9, I think, some shit like that. So I will be posting the show from fucking class. And so I'm busy as fuck, so I kind of have to, if I'm going to do an episode, this was the time to do it. So here we go. There's a lot of stuff to get to here. I know I've just been going so far, but I do have legit shit to talk about here. Let's start right there. The Royal Rumble was this weekend. We had TakeOver, we had Royal Rumble, we had Raw, we had SmackDown. That's that 4-day deal they do with the Big Four now, all in Phoenix, Arizona. I am going to start off by saying this. If you've never listened to the show, or if this is the first time you're really catching on here, I don't do reviews. I don't sit here and go match by match by match. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of yours. If you had any interest in seeing the show, then you will see the show. If you're looking for me to sell you on the Royal Rumble, I'm sorry, I don't get paid for that. I will tell you ups and downs. We'll discuss the show as a whole, as a presentation, but I'm not going match by match. Okay, I was here. Here's a few moments where I was stunned. First of all, I saw the Royal Rumble at a friend's house who lives in New Jersey, so I was driving pretty much for the pre-show. I didn't see the first pre-show match with Bobby Roode, Chad Gable against Scott Dawson and Razor for some fucking reason. I did not see that match, so I don't know what happened there. I did get to see Shinsuke win the title back from Rusev. That was a pretty weird and dumb finish, but I understand now why they did it. When we get to it later, you'll understand as well. And Buddy Murphy defending his championship. Now, I recall during the roundtable, I was stating that I didn't believe there would be any title changes. I was incorrect. There were 2 title changes, as a matter of fact. This was one of them. Shinsuke winning the championship back from Rusev. Buddy Murphy did retain against Tozawa, Tommy, and Kalisto. The opener was Asuka and Becky, and that shocked me. I really didn't think that would be the open. Now we know why that it was, because Becky had a lot of shit to do, and Becky taps out in this match, but wins the Royal Rumble. Let's start with that, to be honest with you, because I felt weird about that. I hated that. I hated the fact, first of all, I hated the fact that the match was booked. I said that during the roundtable. I hated the fact that this match was even booked. This was a lose-lose for Becky Lynch. Even after what they did, they had the match. It was a great match. It might be the best match of the entire card. Becky does the tap-out deal, and then later comes out and takes Lana's spot and joins into the Royal Rumble and eventually wins. Why on earth would we tap Becky out? Now, I get it. She's leaving for Raw. You basically helped Asuka, right? She tapped out the man. That's going to be her deal. She'll rule the roost on SmackDown. Asuka's going to be at the top of the card, and she's going to be the top of the division. I get it. Tap out, though. We didn't need Becky to tap out. Are you fucking kidding me? The man. I'm supposed to buy into this shit. This is exactly what I'm not liking about this man deal. She's over like fucking Rover. Apparently, she's in a place right now where very little harms her. So I guess it's okay to experiment and get crazy and change things up. But this whole man thing has not been booked right at all. First of all, the bloody situation when they invaded Raw, and she was doing the whole deal, beating up Ronda and stuff, and then Nia Jax punched her in the face. I know I make a bunch of jokes about it. I make the jokes to irk you people about that shit. But the bottom line is no one counted on the idea that she was going to get jaw jacked like that and eventually just bled. Coming from that, the way she sold it, the way Becky used it to her advantage, that was pure, unmitigated badass. And that's pretty much the story of this entire run so far. It just seems like every badass moment seems to happen almost either organically or specifically by happenstance. It's not like they're planning for this shit. They're not planning for this shit. Becky gets in the ring, has a shitty match, and a shitty segment with Peyton Royce not too long ago. Snooze fest, right? She does the whole deal where she walks in, she drinks the pancake bullshit from the blender. Why the fuck would she drink that? Why the fuck would she give these guys even the time of fucking day? You're the man. Keep it moving. Do what you gotta do. You're the man. You've got shit to do. You shouldn't be fucking around with all these people. It was like a cheap attempt at a pop, which I don't even understand because she's over. She's more over than 90% of the roster. What are we doing these little cheap bullshits for? Didn't make any goddamn sense to me. She never should have been put in this position, even if it was an automatic rematch deal, which I thought they were in the opinion of getting rid of that. But even if that was the argument, where she gets her mandated rematch, do that bitch on SmackDown with a fuck finish. You don't need her to be in a prime position at Royal Rumble to keep her in the title picture. She's the man. She's Becky. She's going to be in this match regardless. So, but see, this is, I can't, how am I supposed to, Asuka tapped you. Asuka tapped you. Now, Asuka's a great performer, but she tapped you. So if you couldn't beat Asuka, why am I supposed to believe you can beat Ronda Rousey? How do those two correlate? It almost seems like they've been doing shit in spite of the fact that she's been over and just trying to see how bulletproof she is. It's almost like they're doing this shit on purpose. Every time I turn around, she's doing something else where I'm just confused as to why we're even having this conversation. She's the man, right? This is how the man acts, ABC, like this. You're not doing that. You're absolutely not doing that. I also feel like they've been trying to sabotage her. What was the fucking point of turning Charlotte heel almost immediately after Becky Lynch? What was the point? What was the point? Freshen up Charlotte? Okay, you can freshen up Charlotte. I understand that. But you're still putting her in a prominent position when I thought the whole point was to get Becky into that position. It's almost like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're pushing both at the same exact time with almost literally the same exact gimmick. Just back to back to back. I don't understand the thought process. Why did we have to turn Charlotte right now? I feel like Becky is being successful in spite of the fact. It's weird. Miz Shane, that was the second match, Ronda Sasha. That was Ronda's best match ever against Sasha Banks. They went over that match 1,000 times. You could see the formula. They didn't let any of the moves breathe at all. It was segment to segment, spot to spot, blah blah blah, blah. So it was Steamboat Savage, basically is what it was. It was move, which is good. It was an entertaining matchup. You know, they got a lot of time. 14 minutes, looks about 13:55. It was good. It was a good time. Right after that, the Women's Royal Rumble match took place. I can say this about the Women's Royal Rumble. I know people didn't like it. For the most part, it was boring, or whatever the case may be. I enjoyed it for one super-duper reason. Is that the last year was the first one. So they got real nostalgic. They got real flashbacky. They started bringing all these different people. You didn't get that this year. You got a lot of the current stars, a lot of the future current stars. That's pretty much how that went down. And I will say this. Becky winning the Royal Rumble is an awesome idea. I do not like how she got there. Again, almost like intentionally fucking with this bitch because it doesn't make any sense. So, I mentioned earlier to you that there was a bad finish with the Shinsuke Rusev matchup in the pre-show. That match was on about 6:10 p.m. Okay, the Women's Royal Rumble looks like it went on like around 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's about a 2.5, maybe 3 hour block. Well, you're pretty aware that Lana's hurt because the end of that matchup, I didn't get a chance to explain what that finish was. So the finish is Rusev and Shinsuke are battling. Rusev currently has the momentum, right? Shinsuke actually cuts off the momentum. So Shinsuke is the one in control. He starts going over to one of the turnbuckle pads to take off the pad. Lana sees this. She starts overreacting. She's trying to get the referee to look. She hops onto the apron. Shinsuke and Lana are going back and forth verbally. I don't even know why. No one can understand Shinsuke. Anyway, Rusev goes to attack Shinsuke. He powders to the side. And Rusev locks Lana to the ground, in which she grabs her ankle and sells the idea that she's hurt her foot really, really bad. Rusev, being the kind and gentle husband that he is, instead of going out of the ring to help his wife I should say, or to at least spread some words of wisdom and or concern, all he keeps yelling is, "Get up, Lana! Get up!" That's it. He wasn't really concerned about her health. He just wanted the bitch to get off the floor. I mean, that's natural reaction, right? Anyway, so they knew about 2.5 hours before this fucking thing that she was injured. She was hurt. They never replaced her. They allowed her to put her gear on. What was the point? By the way, what was the point of putting on the kick pad? She's got a hurt ankle. I think it was her left ankle. I believe it was her left ankle. And her right one, she still had the kick pads on. She was in full gear. What the fuck was the point? You're injured. And then she got about halfway down the ramp, couldn't make it. Referees come out, medical personnel comes out, agents come out. It's a big ordeal. It's a happening. Lana can't get to the ring because of an ankle. It required 15 people to be there for some oddball reason. Anyway, a 16th person came out. Here comes Becky Lynch. She's trying to convince Finley that she wants to take her spot and blah, blah. And Finley's like, no, we got a schedule to keep, yada, yada, yada. Crowd's chanting for it. And she's screaming, come on, listen to him, listen to him. And eventually he caves, and that's how Becky gets into the Royal Rumble. Hated it. Didn't make any sense. I think my wife and I, we were talking in the car about the whole deal. My wife had a much better idea, I think, where you can keep Lana geared up. You could see it would actually work better if she was completely geared, the same way we saw her geared up. And she's in the back, and they do the number deal. And you hear the number hit 0. Here's the buzzer. Here comes Lana's music. Nothing happens. They play Lana's music again. Nothing happens. They go to the camera in the back, and it's Lana in a ball of tears. She's in Gorilla. She's dressed. She wants to compete. You hear her say, I want to go out there. I want to go out there. I have to get out there. And WWE officials are just not letting her go. All of a sudden, here comes Becky. Becky's trying to explain her case and all those different things about her championship situation. And that's when Lana gets the idea. Well, listen, if I can't go, then why doesn't Becky take my spot? Almost like, Lana's helping her out here. It makes both sides look good if there's some sort of collusion there. But none of that shit happened. It was just a point. This is what it is, and then that's it. So I didn't like the way they got her into the match. Nonetheless, she was in the match. She ended up winning. She last eliminated Charlotte Flair. I know I said I wouldn't go match by match, but I'm not actually reviewing it. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, the whole building fell asleep. You guys saw my status online. I don't know what happened there. Wheels fell off. No one gave a shit. 24 minutes felt like 56 minutes. Brock Lesnar and Finn Balor, ridiculous match. Just a ridiculous match. Big man, little man, and little man. I mean, they kept pumping it David versus Goliath, and David pretty much did everything. It was kind of sad. And, of course, the last match, 30-man Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins wins, last eliminating Braun Strowman. Again, if you want to see the actual show, WWE Network is the place to be. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are the two people who won their respective Rumbles. They get to pick the champion of their choice, which leaves me to Raw and SmackDown. Seth said he needed time. Becky pretty much knew what she wanted to do, so we've confirmed the rumor as of right now. Anyway, it will be Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. Of course, we still have the Elimination Chamber. We've got time. Things can change. And we already know that Charlotte's hanging in the wind. A lot of people waiting to see if Charlotte's going to get added to that. Make it a 3-way. We're not entirely sure. A lot of things up in the air. But that was the Royal Rumble right there. I put up a poll. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can check and see. You see how I'm talking right now? I'm not feeling well. I am not in a good place right now. I am in pain. I am a man who is in pain, my friend. Okay? Let's take a quick gander, if we will, at our poll here thus far that I posted up as to whether or not people enjoyed the Royal Rumble. We are at 61% yes, 39% no. That's not bad. It's not bad. It's almost, let me see what we got here. It's almost 60-40. It's almost 60-40. That's not ideal. It's 61-39, but it's not ideal. But more people enjoyed it than they actually hated it, so that's pretty good. That's all right. You can deal with that. You can deal with that stuff, If we take this poll here and we translate it into actually what people liked, I think that would have made things a little bit more interesting, because I think everyone's on the same page. The only hit or miss match, Lesnar-Balor, you're probably iffy 50-50 on it, probably at best, but pretty much they get the vibe for everything else. Worked out really well. The women's Royal Rumble went an hour and 12 minutes. What's that, 72 minutes, and the men's Royal Rumble went 57. That was the major complaint for the Rumble. Everyone just thought it was too long. And it was a 6-hour show. or for what people are telling me, it was about a 6-hour show. And to them, I say this: if you buy a ticket for the Big Four, expect to be there a fucking while. This shouldn't be fucking news to anybody anymore if these shows are long. We've been bitching about it every day for several years now. The shows are too fucking long. Raw's too fucking long, and it's only 3 fucking hours. All right, if you buy a ticket to the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or SummerSlam or Survivor Series, just buckle the fuck in. You're gonna be there a fucking while. This is not the first time we've had this conversation, guys. Buckle the fuck up. Seriously. You're gonna be there a fucking while. I'm headed to WrestleMania myself this year. I know for a fact I'm gonna be there a fucking while. I just know. Okay? You guys gotta stop being so sensitive about this show. It's such a long fucking show. I was saying that about the WWE Championship match. You know, a lot of people were saying I was saying about the show that I felt the crowd had really fallen asleep during the WWE Championship match. And everyone said, well, of course they fucking fell asleep. You know? They've been in there for 5, 6, 7 fucking hours. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a bullshit reason. Because I've been to a lot of those shows where they're super long and the crowd's really still into it for the shit they care about. I don't think a lot of people were buying in toward the end, you know? I think people were invested in the Men's Royal Rumble, I guess. Especially with that Jeff Jarrett return, baby. What the hell was up with that? JEFF. JARRETT, my friend. ETT, Jeff Jarrett. He made his return. We almost got slap nuts. I was very close. I was very, very curious. And I was also mentioning that if you look at the ring attire for Jeff Jarrett, I was very confused because he came out with my Baby Tonight outfit on, but he had his slap nut shades on. So you're mixing brands here. You got that WWE WCW vibe right now. So that was actually a pretty good idea. Speaking of returns, the Major Brothers are back. I didn't get a chance to talk about what happened the Monday before because they had the interview, but apparently Zack, Ryder, and Curt Hawkins are going to be a team again. I guess so. Why the fuck not? At this point, why the fuck not? Seriously. I mean, I don't even know why they're still there, to be honest with you. I have no clue why they're even still there. But they are, so that's fine. I respect them. They're doing their thing. They've been with the WWE for a long time. And we're going to put them back as a tag team. All right, cool. Whatever, bro. If you're gonna make them a tag team again, that's absolutely fine. I just... What more can you do with you can't? I was gonna call them Major Brothers again because that's what they were, and they were trying to say shit on what was it? It was the Edgeheads, right? They were the Edgeheads, bumping machines, man, bumping feet. 2 young guys underneath the tutelage of the Rated R Superstar. Rated R Superstar. There it is. So that's that stuff there. Major Brothers reuniting here as a tag team. We have a new United States champion. R-Truth wins the WWE United States Championship in a matchup that I can only classify as the truest of terms as a kerfuffle. That bitch was a conundrum. I was baffled by the confusing things that were taking place. I wasn't sure if this was shoot, real, fake. I couldn't tell. If the plan was to blend the lines as perfectly as they did, that's a brilliant goddamn plan, I gotta tell you. That is a brilliant goddamn plan because I was confused. Okay, I was not with it when he won the championship. I saw them still running spots. There was just outright confusion. I'm not entirely sure what was supposed to happen there. But I felt a lot better about it happening exactly the way they wanted it to handle because immediately after, Rusev comes out with Lana, lays down the challenge, and we have a second U.S. title match. So I thought for sure that they were going to screw over R-Truth. I said, okay, he's got the belt. He just beat Shinsuke Nakamura for it. Here comes Rusev. I thought we were going to play some sort of weird patty cake game, but alas, R-Truth pulls it out. Not only does he win the championship, but he beats another former champion directly after that matchup. That is huge. I thought they were going to really fuck him over, but they actually did him pretty cool. And I'm just thinking about it in my head. Maybe this is it for Truth. Maybe this is it. Maybe no more after this. Big Show, Mania. I'm thinking maybe he comes in as the U.S. champion. That would be absolutely huge. That would be great. I would be a huge fan of that if he came into WrestleMania as a champion. Well, it'll be a feel-good moment, a lot like when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship a few years back. He won it at WrestleMania, lost it the next fucking day. He just puts his name, he etches it in stone, I guess. it would be a very similar situation here. AJ Orsini here, and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. by going to ajoum.podbean.com, you guys get to hear my silky, smooth, sexy voice. And I'm going to tell you guys now that as sexy as I sound, I can tell you I am even sexier to look at. And you guys can check out Orsini's Uncensored Mind audio clips, video exclusives, announcements, the whole deal by heading over to YouTube. That's right, we have an official YouTube account that you can check up on and catch exclusives by going to youtube.com/AJOrsini96host. You click in that and you can catch all of the Orsini goodness, and you get to see all of this beauty as well. I don't just sound good, folks, I look damn good too. And that's youtube.com/AJORSINI96HOST. In other news, if you haven't seen SmackDown this week, we got something beautiful. I already mentioned a few things going on this week with the Royal Rumble week. R-Truth winning the championship did happen tonight here on SmackDown, but something else happened here on SmackDown. We have ourselves a brand new WWE Championship title belt, and I gotta tell you guys, this one is different. Normally, I spend my time defending belts. I think people overreact sometimes to these belts. I really do believe they do. But this time around, I'm going to have to go ahead and agree. This one, not so good. But I will also disagree by saying I think it fits perfectly to the situation. I think if they made this belt just generally, just to have it as the belt, it would not be good. But for those of you who did not check it out on SmackDown, we have a new championship belt. It is the only two things we got before he was interrupted was it was made completely out of hemp. It was made out of hemp, biodegradable organic material, and carved wood from a naturally fallen oak. So they didn't even chop the tree down and made this belt. That tree was already naturally on the ground. It naturally fell, and they carved up the good wood and made themselves a WWE Championship belt. This belt looks so gaudy. I get it why people don't like it, but you know what? It's really perfect for him. It's perfect for him. A lot of people are comparing this to when Edge made his own championship. I don't compare that. That was a mocking of the John Cena belt because it was legitimately practically the same exact belt with a spinner and a different logo, but it was practically the same belt. This looks completely different from the WWE Championship. Also, can we get a few extra points for the man for throwing the WWE Championship in the garbage live on SmackDown Live? Yes, I know it was for a point, but he literally threw the WWE Championship in the garbage on SmackDown Live. In a actual garbage can. It's a plastic one with the plastic bag in it. It's not that metal one that we had before for London Blazer's little catastrophe there. But he did throw the WWE Championship belt in the garbage. That's a thing that happened. That is a thing that is real. I can't make that shit up for you. He actually did do it. He was then interrupted by 5 competitors, conveniently all coming down to the ring and talking trash, to which Triple H would go on to announce that they would all be inside the Elimination Chamber coming up. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of scuttlebutt about that match that happened at the Royal Rumble, about what went wrong, what didn't go wrong, what was it supposed to be, because it kind of felt like they were making that match kind of the cooler. It was kind of in between. It was coming off of the rush of Becky winning the Royal Rumble. That match died a death. That has caused some uncomfortability amongst the locker room. Not that particular match. I'm just saying in general. There's a lot of people who are not happy about a lot of things here in the WWE. And we've been hearing a lot of rumor, a lot of hearsay, a lot of things going on. People asking for their releases and you know, the revival comes up. We're now learning that a Hideo Itami has come up. We don't know if either of those two entities will actually get their release. There's a lot of people who's been asking recently, or at least conversing, about what their contract situation is. And I gotta tell you, people will lean toward AEW, and I think they're a big part. But I think overall, I think a lot of these WWE guys are seeing the successes of some of these ex-WWE guys outside of the company. They're starting to get curious They're starting to get real curious. Hideo Itami is a new one. That one I think came out today. That Elimination Chamber, as we now know, as it shaped out here on SmackDown, the WWE Champion Daniel Bryan will be defending against AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, and Mustafa Ali. Big move for Ali being in this chamber, like Joe said. A boy standing amongst men. Now he is indeed a grown man, and we'll see how good this guy really is in the chamber. I think a lot of those guys are going to go out of their way to make sure he looks pretty good. And I'm excited to see what he does in a main event capacity, because I think that will indeed be the main event of the pay-per-view. There won't be a Universal Championship match. You could always, I guess, do the ladies last, because they're crowning brand new champions for a brand new championship belt. So you might be able to do that. That might be something that they do as well. But this will be a high-profile situation for Mustafa Ali, and I'm ready to see what the kid can actually do. It's going to be really dope to see him in a high-pressure situation. And speaking of high-pressure situations here, there is a gentleman we need to speak about who was once in the pro wrestling game. He is no longer in the pro wrestling game. His name is Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger. He used to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now he is a mixed martial artist. He's transitioned from pro wrestling to the MMA game. And of course, there are a lot of comparisons, of course, his troupe to the CM Punk situation of CM Punk going to the UFC. This is not the case. And I'll explain in a second why there shouldn't have never been a comparison between the two. But it's a lot like, to me, it was more like Punk and Batista are kind of in that category. Guys like Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, it's a lot of that in that area here. Jake went in there. First of all, it wasn't UFC. It's a much lower scale. It's Bellator. Okay, that they're a great company, but they're not exactly UFC. And look, I have right in front of me the tail of the tape here. We have to discuss this. Jake Hager, okay, against JW Kisser. I think it's Kisser or Kaiser. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just bringing him up for the point of reference, okay? The other guy, JW here, he's got a 1-1 record. So obviously right off the back right there, not a whole lot of experience, which is fine because it was Jake's pro debut. Ages 36 to 41, Jake being 36-41. So not much of an age difference. They're both pretty much seasoned. I don't know what JW's background is, and I, again, don't care. I'm bringing up these statistics because there's a point that I'm trying to make here. Jake, of course, standing at a stellar 6'5", JW coming in at about a 5'11" height. Jake, 238 pounds. The man dropped weight. He got serious. He cut down. It's pretty cool. JW coming in at 224 pounds. So that is a 14-pound weight advantage, a 6-inch height advantage, and if that couldn't be diesel enough for you, an 82-inch reach for Jake over a 71-inch reach for JW. That is an immense advantage. This was tailor-made. This was made custom, specific for Jake. That's why I don't think there should have been any comparison between this and the Punk situation. No comparison. This is not the same thing. Okay, we need to stop with we need to let this shit go and really be honest with ourselves with this Punk situation. Okay, Jake Hager is a former collegiate wrestler, NCAA World Heavyweight Champion. This guy is a seasoned athlete. Okay, he was trained his whole life to be a fucking athlete. Okay, even the other ones that transitioned. Bobby Lashley, he had a pretty nice transition into MMA as well. You know why? Military man, trained professional athlete. Brock Lesnar, NCAA World Heavyweight Champion as well in collegiate wrestling. Trained professional athlete. CM Punk was the guy who ran spots in a gym and got hyped on himself. He took a few Gracie classes. He worked out at his local Y, which is the joke that Brock Lesnar made back in the day when they were doing their promo. Thought he was a Billy Badass and got in over his head. CM Punk was just a guy who thought he could do it because he thought he could do it. There was no real background. Punk's never been the best athlete, ever. The people who trained him to become a pro wrestler tell all the time. He had lead in his ass. That was the Ace Sterling line from the DVD, remember? He had lead in his ass. He had lead in his ass. This guy was not a great athlete. He became a good athlete, and he became a good athlete in the world of pro wrestling, which I love to death. But it ain't combat sports. It isn't. Not to this degree. This is fighting. This is fighting. We're not running spots here. We're not calling it in the ring. This is for real. And Punk never had the training. Never had the instinct. He started training well into his 30s. He's almost 40. If I'm not mistaken, I think he may even be 40 now. I don't even fucking know. I haven't kept track. But he got too late in the game. He was going against people, training against people with half his age, much higher skill set. It was a joke. He cashed in. UFC cashed in on a cash opportunity. That's all it was. Get some eyes on the product. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not that. Jake is an actual trained professional athlete. The guy is a wrestler, a mat technician. As a matter of fact, he won this match in the first round with a choke. He choked him out. He put this guy, the guy tapped out. He submitted him. He tapped him. Okay? Jake is 1-0 in mixed martial arts, officially, under the Bellator banner. Stop with the CM Punk stuff, because the only thing that CM Punk did, they got everyone all riled up, was the whole line, "It's a passion of mine. I'm achieving my dream." It was never his fucking dream to be a mixed martial artist. I said it 1,000 times during the height of this entire story. Never was. Was never part of his dream. His dream was the main event WrestleMania. And at that dream, he failed. Truth hurts. He failed. I'm not passing judgment. He went farther in this industry than I will ever go. That is not me sitting here trying to throw shade or hate or jealous. I'm stating a fucking fact. He didn't do it. There are 1,000,001 reasons why he didn't. Paramount of which might be him. Paramount of why he never main evented a WrestleMania might just be because of him. Because of the things that he did, because of the things that he said. He might have been his worst enemy on that. But the facts are, he didn't main event a WrestleMania. Period. End of conversation. That was the goal. So then he transitioned over to the mixed martial arts. Like I said, he got high on the Gracie high and thought to himself, if I really dedicate myself for 2 years, imagine that. Imagine that. He thought if he dedicated himself for about a year, maybe two, he'd be an expert in mixed martial arts to the point where he could just join the UFC for big money and just be credible athletes. That's not going to work. I'm not saying if Jake Hager here had debuted in UFC that he would have been 1-0 or he would have at least had a better fight. I don't know. But what I do know is that he was smart enough to not put himself in that position. And Bellator was smart enough to not put him in that position and use him as a cash cow and use him as a draw. They put him up against a guy that statistically he should have destroyed. And he did. He tapped him out in the first round. That's how you build a star. That's how you generate interest. That's how you get people talking and buzz and social media activity. This is how that works. They paid Punk for what? People were already watching that pay-per-view, man. The UFC fans are loyal, man. They're going to watch that pay-per-view. They were watching Punk or no Punk. Even the second one you did in Chicago, you were expecting a bump. You didn't get it. Pretty much run-of-the-mill average UFC pay-per-view numbers. You didn't get anything out of it. So it was nice when it happened, but we can stop now with the comparisons. This guy, Jake Hager, went out there and did his thing. Congratulations to him. To him. We can stop with the comparisons now. It's dumb. They don't even fucking compare. They don't. So we'll talk about something else now here. We're going to head back into the game of pro wrestling. I know I didn't really leave it to bring up this topic. But we're going to go into a different direction now. And one in particular that, boy, oh boy, do we really need to get into this. Boy, oh boy, do we really, really need to get into this.
And now back to Action News 5. Our top story tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
To some it is. I have this gimmick here, but it's actually very, very true. It has horrified some people. The hearts of young women everywhere have turned. The sweats beating off the male fan who sits at home all day watching nothing but his pro wrestling DVDs. Dean Ambrose, the heart and beat and soul, what was it? The workhorse of the WWE has had enough. He's tapping out, folks. He is tapping out. He is a lunatic, no longer on the fringe. He has jumped off of the cliff. He's jumped. That's it. He's finished. He's taking a gun and putting it in his mouth and pulling the fucking trigger. He is done being Dean fucking Ambrose. He's over it. It is over. He's done. Everything has been coming out to light. It's been rumored all day. Again, I'm recording this Tuesday evening. It's been talked about nonstop all day from anybody who will listen and from anybody who will have the conversation. Dean Ambrose has made it very clear to management, has made it clear to Vince McMahon, has made it clear to anybody who's above him on the pay end here that he will not be re-signing a new contract. His deal is up directly after WrestleMania, the end of April. His deal with WWE is up. I am unsure at the moment if he's got a non-compete. Actually, no, that would be for a release, right? His contract is ending, so he shouldn't have a non-compete. But nonetheless, Dean Ambrose, 1/3 of the Shield, a guy who was a former WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, tag champion. This guy's pretty much done it all. It was nice to see him end with the Shield and do this whole heel thing and give it a shot. But the bottom line is I tried to warn you people. I tried to get on top of you, let you know what was going to happen. I don't mean you people, the fans. I mean you people over at WWE Tower. I was trying to help you out here. Orsini was trying to throw you a bone. That's what happened here. I was trying to explain to you. You dropped the ball. This entire return has been garbage, and the garbage started the minute Dean Ambrose came back and put on a flap jacket. That was the end. There is no turning back. The Shield was great in 2012, great in 2013, and great in 2014, and that's the last time it was ever great, which was way back when. And every single time that they have tried the emergency break open glass, pull out the Shield bullshit, all it ever did was hinder Dean. And I said this 1,000 times. The Shield never benefited Dean. He did his best work outside of the Shield. I've said it 1,000 times. 1,000. And the minute they brought him back and put him into the Shield, and then they broke up the Shield, and they split him off to fight Rollins all by himself, it's just been a gigantic pain in the ass. And I cannot blame him. I cannot blame him even for a fucking second for even considering going somewhere else or doing something else, or at least, the very least, getting out from under the shadow of the WWE. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you he signs with anyone else, because I'm not entirely sure at this point in his life that he actually will. I don't know. He can. He's still in his prime. The guy can still kill it out there if he really wants to, and God forbid he gets his hand on a microphone. But it takes guts to sit there and say, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't care how much you pay me. Now, there's a lot of people out the internet right now who are giving him props and kudos for making the decision, which is fine. He deserves that. But the line that I have to stop you at is when people say the line, well, I'm glad someone else feels the same way. That it's not always about money. Sometimes you need to be able to show your artistic side. Okay, look, it's easy to not be about the money when you've already got a shit ton of the money. This guy's a millionaire at this point. He got money. He ain't worried about that kickback. He's not worried about that. He knows he's gonna get paid because he's a star. Stars get paid. He knows this. So we can dead that idea. Okay. The next thing that I keep hearing is maybe he'll sign with AEW. I don't know. I don't know if he does. Like I said before, I don't know if he signs with anybody. If I was gonna do anything, I guess it would be AEW. If I really had a wired bug up my ass, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, fuck WWE, I'm going to join the other side, and I'm going to crush WWE. Be a player, be a helpful tool, a cog in the machine, if you will, that takes down the machine, the evil empire, WWE. And you're probably saying to yourself, wow, Dean Ambrose would really be full of himself if you thought that. I concur. I think the WWE losing Dean Ambrose is huge. Huge, huge, huge for multiple reasons. People keep telling me, well, they've got a buttload of talent already. There are not many guys, maybe on one hand, maybe, guys in the WWE locker room now that could contribute and do what Dean does day in and day out. Here's the thing now. Where do you go? What do you do? Still in the prime? Still have an opportunity to make some good money? He's going to be cashing in on those WWE checks for a while. So the question is where does Dean Ambrose land? Where does he go after? What does life after WWE look like for him? And my answer, in my opinion, it's just an opinion. I don't know the man himself, but my opinion, I don't think he goes anywhere anytime soon. To be honest with you, I know he would feel like a hot commodity coming out the gun. That it would be smart just to fly into the next thing. I'm not entirely sure that's the way to go. There are many options on the table. For those of you saying, well, it looks like he's coming back to CZW. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell. They can't afford him. Now, at the best, maybe in appearance, he'll be free to move about the building, do whatever he wants to do. He wants to make an appearance. He wants to make like a surprise return or whatever that case may be. Get that huge pop. That would be great. But full-time return, CZW, that's not happening. Obviously, Ring of Honor would be a better option, but even then, I don't even think he's never really had a relationship with Ring of Honor. I don't think he ever really cared much for Ring of Honor. I don't think that's kind of his thing. Even now that they're a different company and they're on TV doing their thing, I still don't think so. New Japan, probably not for the reason of I just don't think he wants to travel all the way to New Japan a whole bunch of times. He wants to do the Jericho deal where he could do a few big matches here and there, maybe, perhaps, can really try to tell a story. The number one option, I think they're really the only other option, the only other competitor to the WWE that would really do any ways for him, all elite wrestling. But here's the deal. I like him in AEW for two reasons. A, I will only really appreciate the new Jon Moxley, which I think he may be going back to is Jon Moxley. I can appreciate the new Jon Moxley if he really, truly, and obviously does have the handcuffs taken off, and they're just going to let this guy run and do his own deal and do his own promos and just go out there and just entertain. I would love him to go to AEW at least just for that. The second thing, I did a little thing on AEW not so long ago, and I really felt like one of their biggest players, their player coach, that one guy who can really stir the pot, Chris Jericho, here in WWE, in AEW. Every Batman needs a Joker, baby. And I can see an antithesis being born here with Dean Ambrose. Now, we've had a little feud with him in the past, Ambrose and Jericho. But they did that under pretty much restraints. If you take those restraints off, how can these two massively creative entities come out? And what can they possibly do? I would be very intrigued to see that. Very intrigued to see what these two masters of psychology can get in there and actually do. To be honest with you, I'm kind of right along with everybody else in the sense of I just want to see him start cutting promos again. I just want to see if the old man still has it, if he can still get in there and just organically just do it off the top of his damn head. I want to see it. I want to see an uncuffed, angry, bitter, fucking sawed-off fucking Dean Ambrose. Jon Moxley. I just want to fucking see him go and just be the freak that he fucking is. And I would love to see that happen, and we just might. We just might. Everybody who was floating around with the rumor, the WWE is the one who actually genuinely made this shit official by releasing word, which is odd because we're at the end of January. We still have at least another 2 months before we get to April when the contract's actually up, and they're already talking about it. They teased it a bit on the show. Dean Ambrose was getting ready to say something. He had a match with Seth Rollins, about to say something, and then he got interrupted by Nia Jax. There are a lot of people online who were concerned that this is kind of a swerve, where it's a lot like where Punk was quote-unquote leaving the company, and then he returned, and he was about to leave the company, and he won the WWE Championship on the way out, and he was gone for 2 weeks, maybe. And he was back on TV with a whole new contract, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if that's the same thing here. It would be interesting to see if that's the deal, where they're just kind of doing this to stir up some sort of interest, get some things back, trying to freshen up the character a little bit. If they're doing that, then the only way to really do that is to let him go. Not go to other places, but literally just let him go creatively. If you're really trying to show a different side of Dean Ambrose, let him show a different side of Dean Ambrose. This really isn't that hard. I know they trust him enough for some of the promos where it's not completely 100% scripted, but still, you might be able to pull something out of this And AEW absolutely needs it. I think Dean actually needs it more than AEW has. If Dean never went to AEW, I think AEW, even as it stood, would still be a force and it's still going to be something interesting to watch down the line. I don't think AEW really needs Dean Ambrose. Believe it or not, I actually think Dean Ambrose needs AEW. I think he needs a palate cleanser. I think he needs to go in there, do his thing, be Mox, be happy, and just do what not happy. I think Mox is a miserable piece of shit all the time. That's what works for him. But if he can keep doing that and really just focus on what he needs to do and just take a breath, I think he's going to be better for it. I actually do see a return to WWE happening at some point. A few years. Maybe a lot like the Christian run. Remember Christian leaving the WWE at the height there at the cusp? He was just about right there in the main event. And once he got the idea that he just wasn't going to get that shot, he left for TNA. He went there for what? About 3-4 years, went in there, changed everything around. And he's really convinced people of a lot of things, came back, boom, World Heavyweight Champion. We might have that kind of situation. Maybe Dean needs to take a break, freshen himself up, do a bunch of Jon Moxley type shit, come back, kick ass, and become WWE champion once again. We will see. Time will tell. But I love the idea that this is being stirred up. And I love the idea of this was very familiar territory. I was talking to a buddy of mine here. That during the era of the WWE and WCW and ECW, that kind of attitude era right there toward the end. That was one of the big mystique factors about that time period. Is that you never knew what guy was going to show up where. It was always a surprise, like for instance the night where Rick Rude was both on Raw and Nitro at the same time. Like that type of shit doesn't happen anymore because there's no competition. Now with competition coming just around the corner here, just around the bend, it's going to make it's going to make a lot of interesting things happen here. Someone's going to be disappointed. Someone's going to be disappointed. I'm telling you. But that's just the way that it goes. And I love the competitive nature and the fact that any minute now, like I said, Tommy wants out, Revival wants out. I'm not saying everybody who's in the WWE should go to AEW. What I'm saying is I love the idea of the concept that it's a possibility. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, to be fair, I don't want any WWE guys going to AEW. I really don't. I would like AEW to be exactly what it claims to be, and that's another option. You take some young guys off the indie circuit, some older guys that maybe were a little underutilized. Not all of them, but just a few. I don't need Ty Dillinger and Zack Ryder and Curt Hawkins in AEW. I don't need it. And that's another piece of the puzzle too. A lot of people will compare AEW to what TNA was doing. If you really want to compare it to anybody, I mean, look what WCW did here when they were just doing a startup, when they had billion-dollar money, a lot like not like AEW, they had a billionaire backing it. They wanted to make moves. They wanted to make positions, they wanted to make power positions and make plays here that made people take notice. And when WCW first got signed up, they didn't take Dunk the Clown. They didn't take Bastion Booger. They weren't taking the guys who were being underutilized at the bottom of the card. They were picking up Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect and Rick Rude, and eventually they signed Hulk Hogan. They went after the big names. That's what they went after. AEW starts picking up the randoms, as Chris Jericho put it, the secondary guys here. That's not going to help AEW at all. But if you sign a power player, a guy that can swing the door open, I'm not comparing him to Hogan, but a guy like Ambrose who knows the system through and through, that can be a player coach himself in his own right and still be young enough, or at least in his prime long enough to be a full-time guy. You want to talk about, who should be AEW champion? You got Hangman Page, you got Pac going after it. You got a lot of talent going after it, and I don't think Chris Jericho should ever win it, to be honest with you, because I think he should be player coach. But man, you got a guy like Dean Ambrose who walks in the door, becomes AEW heavyweight champion. You got Ambrose and feuds with Pac and feuds with Page and feuds with MJF and all these different guys. That is a fresh slate of opponents for Dean Ambrose. You get him while he's in his prime, a well-known name around the world with your belt on primetime television somewhere. That is money. Money to be made. So keep your eyes to the ground, folks, and listen out for all this new information as we come forward. We are now just getting down here. Royal Rumble weekend has passed. We are now going down the road to WrestleMania is getting that much closer. I've got my ticket. I hope you guys have yours. And we've got a lot of cool shit coming up, guys. A lot of cool shit. There's a lot of things going down on this show. I keep saying it. And that's because I just want you guys to be up to date. I'm very excited about what's happening. As previously stated, folks, I do not feel well. I promise you, regardless of what's going through my life, I will be much better next week. I'm looking at the calendar here, and next week, my bed, my new bed, I should say, is delivered next Tuesday. So if I can get it recorded, I'm probably going to do the recording on the 5th, which is that Tuesday. I'm going to be off that whole day, so I'll probably be able to record the show there. So I might not be 100% next episode, but I think I'm going to be super hyped because I got new music, I got new segments, I got new everything. A lot of crazy shit going down for next week. I'm super excited. So thank you for bearing with me here tonight. A lot of stuff. I'm probably going to get back to some of the stuff as we go through because, these stories are still developing. They're still developing and we're still figuring things out. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for downloading. Thank you guys for sharing. And, of course, thank you guys for enjoying episode 74. Guys, please download the interview with Montekia. It's one of my most recent interviews. I'm not going to say last, but it's one of my recent interviews. It is dope. It is awesome. You guys will really enjoy it. Also, take a listen to the roundtable. Get those predictions in. You'll see where we stood with the pay-per-view. I did not go down. I did go down match by match, but I didn't review every match. I was just kind of letting you know what took place. If you want specifics, the roundtable episode is for you, dude. So, thank you guys, and peace.